about to be put through their cranial paces.
Our contestants are current and retired professional footballers.
12 players, more used to thinking with their feet.
There's even a World Cup winner amongst them.
Carol Vorderman referees
Britain's brainiest footballer.
Wednesday at 8, ITV1.
Welcome to Aidensfield, the most loving town in England. But that doesn't mean they're not.
Like greased lightning.
At Solving Crime, Heartbeat, tonight at 8, ITV1.
And just a reminder, we've an extra episode of Emmerdale coming up at 7 o'clock.
Named the British terror prisoners held in Cuba. Channel Tunnel train jackers arrested in France. And tempers fray as Arsenal put Liverpool out of the FA Cup.
The ITV Weekend News with Mark Austin.
Good evening. The Foreign Office today named 2 British men being held as Al-Qaeda and Taliban suspects at the US prison camp in Cuba. They're both from the village of Tipton in the West Midlands. Tonight, local people there said they were shocked by the news of any link to the war in Afghanistan. It's also being reported that a violent Al-Qaeda video is circulating around London mosques as part of a recruitment drive for Osama bin Laden's terrorist network. John Draper reports.
The small West Midlands town of Tipton's been taken aback at being linked to the conflict in Afghanistan. There was no reply at the home of Shafiq Rasul, one of the detainees. His family are said to be deeply distressed. At one stage, they called the police to complain about the media encamped on their doorstep. Those who knew 24-year-old Rasul are astonished that he was found in Afghanistan.
I never seen the rifle. Never mind fighting. I never seen the rifle. Right. How did he get there? God knows, I don't.
A very nice person. He had nothing to worry about. He worked and he had a nice life.
The other man, 20-year-old Asif Iqbal, lived nearby. This evening, the local MP said there was no history of fundamentalism in the town.
There has been no indication whatsoever that there has been any sort of extremist cell working here. And I think it's a mystery to the local community as well.
Today, the Observer newspaper produced a gruesome video which it said was being used in some London mosques to recruit young Muslims. It shows actual footage of Islamic guerrillas in Algeria killing soldiers. The US Defense Secretary will this evening visit the prison camp in Cuba where the detainees are being held, but so far there's no word on what they plan to do with them. There have been suggestions that even more Britons are being held at Guantanamo Bay and in Afghanistan itself. But tonight a spokesman for the Foreign Office said that only the 3 individuals who've been identified have been confirmed as being UK nationals. John Draper, ITV News at the Foreign Office.
2 people died and more than 100 were injured today when a Palestinian woman blew herself up in a busy Jerusalem shopping street. It's the first suicide bomb attack by a woman in 50 years of conflict in the Middle East. And it was the 3rd terrorist attack on the city in less than a week. From Jerusalem, John Irvine reports.
The Palestinian suicide attacks are becoming relentless. Tel Aviv was hit on Friday. It was Jerusalem again today. The emergency services, so used to this now, treated more than 100 people. At least 30 suffered physical wounds. Many others were in shock. There is great anger at this. There was a chilling new dimension to the attack. It was carried out by a woman. That fact represents a grim precedent. She targeted pedestrians on the busiest shopping street in West Jerusalem. It was thronging with people. Given the force of the explosion and its proximity, it was fortunate the death toll wasn't much higher. This is the exact same part of Jerusalem where a Palestinian gunman killed 2 Israeli women and injured dozens of other people just last week. Clearly, Palestinian gunmen and bombers are trying to make it impossible for Jerusalemites to go about their daily lives. This has become a deadly street. Since last August, more than 30 people have been killed in 5 separate suicide attacks here. Like most people, the mayor of Jerusalem can see no way out of the current dire situation.
Is it your expectation, sir, that there will be more attacks of this kind?
Unfortunately, yes.
Increasingly, this is a conflict without constraints. There is a sense of resignation and foreboding across the Holy Land. John Irvine, ITV News, Jerusalem.
French police have arrested 4 Romanian men believed to be part of a gang smuggling illegal immigrants into Britain on freight trains. The men used homemade signalling equipment to stop Channel Tunnel trains so that immigrants could climb on board and hide. Around 30 men, women and children were found on one of the trains. Cordelia Kretzschmar reports.
The suspected smugglers were arrested near Lille, miles from the Channel Tunnel entrance. Police say they've been operating on the French railways for months, using special machines to make green signals red and bring trains bound for Britain to a halt. Over 30 would-be immigrants, including some young children, were found waiting to board nearby. Equipped with enough supplies for a trip to Britain, they ended up at the Sangatte refugee centre near Calais. 30 trains have been stopped like this in recent months. On them, who knows how many illegal immigrants. The Home Office today said this was a matter for the French, but the Conservatives disagree.
People would never want to come here in the first place with unsubstantiated claims. If we sent out the message, if you come to Britain without a real case, then you will be detained, you will be dealt with quickly, you will be sent home. Until we send that message out, people will go on trying to get here.
These pictures, filmed exclusively by ITV News last year, exposed the extent of the problem at the tunnel mouth. A gang of 100 people simply storming the entrance in a desperate bid to get to Britain. Since then, security here has been stepped up. But these latest arrests show that in response, the business of entering Britain illegally is becoming far more sophisticated. Cordelia Kretzschmar, ITV News.
Here, a long-awaited new air traffic control centre for England and Wales went into operation today, 6 years late and £150 million over budget. The centre at Swanwick in Hampshire will handle up to 6,000 flights a day in peak season. It opened without any hitches, but air travellers have been warned flights could be delayed while the new system settles down. A war of words broke out today over the measures planned by a train company to keep its services running during a strike. South West Trains say they'll operate some services by using managers as guards during the 48-hour stoppage, which promises to cause more travel chaos for thousands of commuters. The rail unions say that raises safety concerns, a claim hotly disputed by the train company. Ruth reports.
Staff at Waterloo Station are making preparations ahead of tomorrow's walkout, but it will still be a miserable start to the week for 300,000 commuters. At best, just 600 of South West Trains' 1,700 services will operate, as 2,500 guards mount a 48-hour strike over pay. 100 senior managers will be drafted in as temporary replacements, but it's a move that's raising serious concerns over safety.
We've heard that some of these so-called managers have had 2 days training to become a guard. It's an 8-week course, and I think I don't need to say anything else in relation to that.
But South West Trains flatly denies the claim.
Yet another lie from the RMT. The Health and Safety Executive have validated all our arrangements. They've told us they're satisfied that no one will be working a train as a guard unless they're competent to do so.
The company's also denying reports that it's planning to replace strikers long-term with non-unionised workers. The strike's one of a number of unrelated disputes likely to cripple rail services. South West Trains plans another 48-hour strike next month, and workers at ScotRail, Silverlink, London Underground and Docklands Light Railway are also to be balloted on strike action. The disputes threaten to become the biggest show of union strength since the industrial action of the 1980s. Ruth, ITV News.
The Queen today reassured well-wishers that the health of the Queen Mother remains good. Speaking after church at Sandringham this morning, the Queen said her mother, who was confined to her room with a cold last week, is much stronger and getting better all the time. The Queen Mother hasn't been seen in public since last November. Ceremonies are being held around the world to mark Holocaust Memorial Day. Here, politicians, royalty and film stars will attend a special service in Manchester this evening. It marks the 57th anniversary of the closure of the Auschwitz concentration camp, where it's estimated 1.5 million people, mostly Jews, died during the Second World War. Sport now. Arsenal have knocked FA Cup holders Liverpool out of the competition, beating them 1-0 in an extraordinarily bad-tempered match. Dennis Bergkamp scored the winner, but was later sent off for a reckless tackle. One of 3 red cards in the space of just 5 minutes. Liverpool's Jamie Carragher was dismissed for hurling a coin back at the crowd. Alex Thomas watched the game.
Arsenal's victorious players were delighted at the end after gaining revenge for their defeat by Liverpool in last year's final. This match was just as exciting, but for very different reasons. An absorbing cup clash was marred by 3 sendings off in the space of 5 astonishing minutes in the second half. First, Arsenal's Martin Keown was shown the red card for a professional foul, the referee deciding that Keown had tugged back Liverpool's Michael Owen to deny him a goal-scoring opportunity. 4 minutes later, Arsenal were down to just 9 men when Dennis Bergkamp was sent off for this challenge on Jamie Carragher. But while Bergkamp was trying to argue his innocence, Carragher was involved in an incident with the spectators. The Liverpool defender appeared to be struck by a coin, which he then threw back at the crowd, and he was also ordered to leave the pitch. By that stage, everyone watching had almost forgotten that Arsenal were leading, thanks to a first-half goal by Bergkamp, an incident-packed match which finished Arsenal 1, Liverpool 0. Alex Thomas, ITV News.
In today's other 4th round matches, 3rd Division Cheltenham beat Burnley 2-1. Peterborough lost to Newcastle 4-2 and Tranmere won against Cardiff 3-1. Ipswich play Manchester City tonight. Tennis, Sweden's Thomas Johansson has won the men's singles title at the Australian Open in Melbourne. The number 16 seed came from behind to win his first Grand Slam title. His opponent, the Russian Marat Safin, started well, taking the first set 6-3. But began to tire later on, allowing the Swedes to take the match by 3-1. Finally, some good news for anyone with a burning ambition to be a singer. Hearsay, the band created by ITV1's Pop Stars programme, is searching for a new member. They're looking to replace Kim Marsh, who announced she was leaving the band last week after rumours she'd fallen out with other members. Auditions for her replacement will be held sometime next week. So get practicing. I'm back at 10:30.
Let's watch my favourite part again.
Powergen. Energy for you and your little monsters come rain or shine.
Good evening. Windy weather everywhere in the next 24 hours. Stormy weather across parts of Scotland. Gusts of wind around 85 miles per hour are possible late tonight and through tomorrow, so hazardous conditions out on the roads. We've had wet and windy weather working its way north and east across Britain tonight. Still some outbreaks of rain across England and Wales, and that stormy weather will reach the northwest before the end of the night. So it's the northern half of Britain that has the worst of the winds late tonight and through tomorrow. As I say, gusts around 85 miles per hour at worst, so do take extra care on the roads. Mixture of rain and showers to go with it. Further south, not so bad. Still strong winds, even gales in places, but some sunny spells around. The wind's then the main feature tomorrow. Temperature's not so bad, up around 11 degrees. It is a stormy day in store for northern parts.
Powergen. Energy for you and your little monsters come rain or shine.